Forgot to add myself. Hi, everybody. Hi. It has been it has been a week. And if you're watching court, it has been crazy. We have a lot to catch up on. Um, what was it? And I have had a checkup with the doctor and things are going well. So yay for good health on that one. Yeah, I me listening to court in the car being driven to my doctor's appointment. My poor family. They have just, what are you doing? I'm listening to court. What are you doing? I'm listening to court. So we may or may not have folks popping in tonight. That's going to depend on their evening plans. Because I'm very curious. I have some folks that I am texting back and forth with about this case, of watching it and then commenting back and forth. Very, very interesting. But we have a lot to go over tonight because we have, what did we have so far this week? Thank goodness court was not in session today so that I can get a chance to get caught up. Because we had the prosecution's expert witness Ian Wiffen on Monday and Tuesday, I think it was. And that was actually very interesting. We're gonna cover. I have some timestamps of that. I am not going to do a deep dive into the ARCCA voir dire, honestly, because it was hours of Brennan being very snarky, and at the end of all of it, the judge had some snarky comments for the defense, and then she ended up giving them more than they asked for, way more than they've been able to testify to before. So my head still hurts a little bit from that. And then just when I was like, great, we can all catch up on Sunday and do just a full recap of the week and zoom through a few things and all of that. Nope, Jen McCabe had to go and take the stand. I don't understand the order the prosecution is bringing witnesses in, because like we haven't heard from any of the officers yet, but we've heard from the EMTs. And then we heard from Carrie Roberts, and now we're hearing from Jen McCabe. Like the order hurts my brain. It is not linear and it hurts my brain. Well, whatever. That I don't, maybe it's working for the jury. I don't know. If you are new to this trial and you are watching trial during the day and then hanging out with me for recaps, let me know if this is making sense to you. Like let me know. Let me know if any of this is tracking for you, because it's only tracking for me because I watched the first trial. So I know what evidence is coming or is likely to come in later. But yeah. So let us start. I'm going to skip Wiffen's direct. Ian Wiffen. Who is Ian Wiffen? He is a blogger, apparently, and Cellbrite employee. Cellbrite is the program that they use to extract, do the phone extraction, stuff like that. I am jumping ahead of myself, though. I am going to go ahead and roll the intro. Before I do that, let me know where you're coming in from, what you're sipping on this evening. Do you, like the rest of us, need something? I mean, I'm sipping on ginger ale tonight, but um, are you in the mode of coffee and then wine or whiskey to go with this trial, or are you just being smart and hydrating? Questions. All right, let me go ahead and roll the intro, and then I will back up and try this again.
Hello and welcome to The Unfiltered Tea, a show where we say all the things you wish the newscasters said, unscripted and unfiltered. We talk about politics, pop culture, and courts, so pull up your soapbox, pour yourself a cuppa, and let's go.
Let's go. Let us go. All right. So, um, Ian Wiffen, Cellbrite expert. He walks through different text messages and location data on John O'Keefe's cell phone. Where was he at what time? And all of that. And then, don't mind me, I'm trying to look at my notes. Oh, right, that was the next day. So Monday we get direct examination, and then we hop into ARCCA. Now, for those of you who did not watch the first trial, the ARCCA experts, Dr. Wolfe and Dr. Frenchler, I believe, um, they, okay, if you missed the first trial, here's where this gets complicated because the jury is not allowed to know that there was an investigation happening in and around trial one. Technically, they shouldn't even know there was a trial one, although in this case they do. It's weird. But the ARCA experts were called by the FBI to see if the prosecution's theory of the case could in fact happen. They seem very reliable from what I saw in trial one. And they basically got down to science and physics, say the Commonwealth's theory of the case could not have possibly happened. So, um, and we have been on a mission. Brennan has been on a mission in this trial to try and get any information he can find to try and get ARCA, I think, not to testify at all. He has failed at every turn. He has failed at every turn. And so what we are going to look at, I am going to show you just a smidgen of the voir, which is outside the presence of the jury. So what we are looking at is Hank Brennan allowed to ask Dr. Wolfe absolutely anything and everything that he could possibly ask to get the information that he wants so that it can come into court. Couple of things on this one. Number one, yes, the ARCA experts have an internet nickname. It is out of respect and a bit of, you know, sass that all the internet chats I hang out in call them the crash daddies because they are so knowledgeable in what they do. That yes, this is the crash daddies, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to show you a smidgen of this because if I keep it longer than a smidgen, I will yeet my computer out of the window in anger at Brennan. So here we go. Let me introduce you to Dr. Wolfe, and we will watch a little bit of that, and then we will skip ahead so with it we can have a smidgen of Wiffen's cross-examination, and then we will zoom to Jennifer McCabe because that is going to take us the bulk of the evening. We're in court. I don't know if I can do this in an hour or less. Sit back, get comfy, enjoy enjoy the chats and hanging out. And here we go. All right, now I need to pick the right. No, do that. There we go. There we go. No, that one. Technology is a thing. Why do I always do well, no, I'm actually gonna let's do that. Let's see if that works. I know can I and sometimes I try and do things on the fly, and this is what it looks like, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Alright, well, I feel like I'm a little big for that. Let's see if I can make myself oh, oh, edit. Maybe hang on, guys, hang on, maybe I can do that. There we go. There we go. Okay. Save. Well, that almost worked. Whatever. I'm not gonna bother with that right now. I'm gonna leave myself no, I'm gonna move myself over here so that I don't get in the way. We might just do this for a while because this is hard. All right, let us look at this is the very, very beginning of the day of the voir dire outside of the jury. Jury has gone home for the day when this happened, and we're gonna have a little bit of this. Well, I thought I had it queued up properly. Ah, they were going to get that.
Solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court in the matter now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, go right ahead, Mr.
Thank you.
Brennan.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Did you become aware there was an order from this court to produce records?
Yes.
Did you receive a copy of that order?
Yes.
Who did you receive a copy of that
So
order?
we need Dr. Wolfe to identify himself.
Please identify yourself for the record. Spell your last name.
Daniel Wolfe, last name spelled Wolfe.
Who did you receive that order from?
I believe it was in an email forwarded from Miss Little.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Did you understand that there was a request for certain communications?
Yes.
Did you understand that you were supposed to turn those records over to the Superior Court?
Yes.
Did you turn records over to the Superior Court?
I provided a copy of that production notice to Miss Little.
Did you provide the records to the Superior Court?
I didn't directly email that to the court, no.
Did you indirectly email it to the court?
It was my understanding that it would be passed along to the court.
So you didn't
He just said he had sent it to Miss Little. It is
not, pursuant to the order, provide the records to the Superior Court, did you?
Not directly to the court, no.
he said
When
that.
you read the order, you understood what the order was requiring you to provide, correct?
Correct.
It was requiring you to provide all text messages.
Yes.
Did you provide all text messages?
I don't have any in my possession.
Did you look for any text messages that are not in your possession about this case?
Yes.
Okay, did you find any?
No, sir.
What did you do to look?
So I went through the phone that I presently have, and as I informed Miss Little, last year I was under T-Mobile was my carrier. Subsequent to that, I then switched to Verizon in, I believe it was November. So I made an effort to contact T-Mobile as well as get access to my T-Mobile account hub. Unfortunately, I was unable to get access to it or get any records prior to, or at least from my T-Mobile carrier. Then I went through my Verizon records that I have from 2025. I could only go back 3 months, and I provided those records.
How about emails? You didn't change email carrier.
Okay. I'm gonna leave that here. We're gonna zoom ahead. It Brennan gets real nasty about this. Basically, ARCCA was supposed to hand over some records. I could probably skip ahead and we could look a little bit of it. I don't think I have that in me today because we have so much to get through. And it's not in front of the jury. Brennan is on a fishing expedition, and I don't think he's going to succeed. in what he's hunting for, because the fishing expedition, he seems firmly convinced that there is some nefarious something hiding on some text or email chain with this group of experts. I think he thinks that they are pro-defense because they haven't signed on with what the Commonwealth wanted to do. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And Brennan gets super sassy. The judge asks him not to be so sassy. He continues to get sassy. And it's just exhausting to watch. Also, this isn't this guy's first rodeo. He is an expert. He testifies a lot. So it's kind of funny to me that in this voir dire, Hank Brennan was like, but you sent notes. And I'm paraphrasing now. And Dr. Wolfe was like, of course I sent notes. I always send notes with my stuff because me paraphrasing what I think was in his head, because every so often I run across attorneys like you that don't know the material and I need to guide them. There was a little bit of back and forth about, I appreciated Dr. Wolfe at one point was like, well, I mean, you guys could have reached out and we could have been your experts. But instead, the defense got them. So, if you want to watch the whole thing, go for it. We're just not going to do that here because I again, I will yeet my computer out the window. I I I I will break. And we don't need that. We have a lot to cover. So, what we are going to do is now we are going to spend a little bit of time with Ian Wiffen, who also seems to know his stuff. He seems to have a sense of things that are more in line with the prosecution's theory of the case. But what I appreciate in this go round is Alessi pays attention, and instead of anybody backing down, Wiffen leans into what is being offered, right? So Alessi doesn't get up there and say, you have no idea what you're doing. I'm sure that will come later when the officers get up there. But what he does do is he uses all of the information presented by Ian Wiffen with the cell phone health data and stuff like that. And then he pokes holes in the prosecution's theory of the case while also solidifying the defense, the timeline that the defense is looking at. How that's going over with the jury, I don't really know. But yeah, so we are going to start here. Hopefully the audio on this one is better than the audio on the other one. We might just have to switch, or I just need to get better at my tech for audio. I know the other one was a little quiet, but we figure things out as we go, right? So, let us look at a little bit of this cross exam by Attorney Alessi and of Ian Wiffen. Being John's phone. That being John's phone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to back that up and we're going to try this again. Because I didn't actually click share screen. This is why we have sometimes. See, this is where I get to say I am not a professional. I am not a professional. I would like to be a professional one day, but not if I keep doing this. Okay. Let's try this again. Let us try this again. Not that. That. Hey, now you guys can see stuff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is why we have a chat. And when we don't have a chat, we have phones and folks in house that call. my mods are my parents and they are amazing and they're taking care of stuff. Me trying to do this all by myself. All right. I backed it up. I'm sorry, guys. This is see this is why you need to like and share and all of that so that then the chat is like flying with hey Aurora, all we see is you. Hey Aurora, all we see is you. So that's this is a great time to remind me to say do all the YouTube things because then there will be more of us here and then chat can alert me when I do silly things like don't show you what I'm looking at because chat is amazing and we love that. All right, look, I went back. So let us no this that there we go. Let's try this again. Sorry.
From the combination of device location and bearing, it does appear that the device started to move toward the house. However, since the bearing information appears based on the location records rather than the direction the device is facing, it is difficult to say with any degree of certainty if the device actually moved. So you're talking about difficulty saying with certainty, correct?
Correct.
But it is certainly possible that the device was at that location and was moving toward the house. That's possible, correct?
Based on location data, yes.
Now what I'd like to do, please, is to go stay on that report. And the third paragraph says, the reason for such low accuracy location data at this time is not known, as there are many possible reasons why the accuracy was be reduced. There's a little grammar issue there, but correct. In fairness to you, sir, we do that when we write long reports. But I think that
in fairness to all of us, Mr. Alessi, you can pick out a grammar issue before you get to the page, I think. Not all of us have that ability. I'm just saying, in fairness to all of us, sometimes me not putting things on screen. Just saying.
Your intention here is, why the accuracy is reduced at this point, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Thank you. This could include reasons such as the device entered a building covered area, the result of weather conditions, geography, poor connectivity, or interference, to name a few. So those are the reasons you gave, which could contribute to some low accuracy, correct?
Correct.
And interesting, the very first reason you gave is that the device could be entering a building or covered area. And that phraseology could include a house, correct?
I split them
It
up.
could include a garage, attached to the house, correct?
Correct.
And it could include the house at 34 Fairview, and it could include the garage attached to the house at 34 Fairview, because both of those are buildings or covered areas, correct?
Correct.
Then you go on in the next paragraph to say it is known that the device was not being used at this time, and is this time that include that 12:37, 12-minute range, 12:25 to 12:37?
Yes, it was not being used for location purposes.
So that's another reason why, right, the accuracy could be a little bit on the lower side.
Correct.
Now, the next paragraph says,
I'm going to point out the reason that Alessi is highlighting that 1237 is because of evidence that will, I expect, come in the defense's case in chief. You haven't seen the trial yet. If you haven't seen trial 1 yet, I won't walk you through all of that, but there is a reason that they are highlighting that. So this is, oh no, hang on, I'm looking to see. All right, let me zoom a little bit, and then I'm gonna zoom a little bit more, but we're gonna zoom a little bit because of the picture that is shown.
so you then state, while location data from this data source, cache SQLite, is usually able to identify the location of the device with a high degree of accuracy and reliability,
And I did speed them up.
these records are so close that making a distinction between the device's actual location on the front garden is impossible, correct?
Correct.
Your words, impossible.
Correct.
Okay.
Did you provide any of the information in that paragraph in your timeline or to the jury in your direct testimony yesterday?
Not in the PowerPoint, no.
No.
Next paragraph. If the location records are limited to just the records between 00:25, which is 12:25, and 6 a.m. and with an accuracy radius of 10 meters or less, there are 46 records, all of which fall within the red circle shown below. Go ahead, Mr. Wolfe, if you could scroll down. And that is the only depiction there that you included in your timeline yesterday, correct?
Correct.
So you took one.
Also a different Mr. Wolfe. It gets confusing. This is a trial with too many Brians, 2 different Mr. Wolfes, which is 1 too many. Nobody gets names right either.
Of 2 depictions in your summary of the location, this one in terms of your timeline presentation, correct?
Correct.
Now, in terms of the timeline, and Mr. Wolke, if we could go back to the previous with the other depiction. It's on page 29. If we could enlarge that depiction, please. Testified that the flagpole, is that correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
I skipped ahead to get to this.
And yesterday, you rendered an opinion that you believed that the phone was mostly in the location by the flagpole in the fire hydrant, correct?
Objection.
I'm going to see counsel at sidebar for a minute, please.
We don't need to go through all of that. Unless he does get into pointing out that most of that white circle, here, let me go back. So this is 34 Fairview. Most of that white circle, which is the low accuracy location data, which he gets Wiffen to admit, John O'Keefe could be within the white circle or the black circle. Could be either. He also did a really good job of narrowing down the timeline, and he did an excellent job of it was a really good cross. I think the moment that was so well designed, it is the internet moment of this particular cross examination, was when Alessi said reasonable and Wiffen said yes. And Alessi said doubt and Wiffen said yes. Mic drop. For other reasons, Alessi kept going. The chats I were in couldn't really understand why. I think it's setting up the defense's case in chief. So that I think I'm actually going to skip over one of the other Wiffen timestamps because it doesn't. The jury never saw the jury hasn't seen ARCCA yet. They weren't there for the voir dire. So the reason it was a dig, the internet knows. We know. We know on this side of things, but the jury doesn't know. So, we don't need to go through that. So, now let us skip ahead to Jen McCabe. Because she is very much out of order in this trial, for my mind. I don't know why she came into it. Why is my timestamp wrong? Oh no, my timestamp isn't wrong. There we go. Okay. So, I'm going to let, you know what? I'm going to let her introduce herself and come into all of this. I watched trial number 1. If you watched trial number 1 and now you are watching her testimony in trial 2, there is a distinct difference in everything. We all noticed it. So this is my reminder that the jury does not know. The jury doesn't know that this is completely different than trial number 1. So I don't know how this is going to sit with them. I am curious. So we are going to go over a little bit of her direct, and then we are going to go over a bit of her cross. I should swoop. So we did the first bit. I should swoop for the second bit. Timestamps. I've been just trying to pay attention to trial, so I haven't had the time to do timestamp or the energy, honestly. But they will. I'm gonna work on it. I'm going to try. Chat, hold me to this. Sunday, feel free to leave a comment being like timestamps. If I mess that up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a look at some of Jen McCabe's testimony. I'm actually going to show it to you this time. I'm going to show you for realsies. Oh, wait. No. Yes. CC is on. I am going to slow this down to normal speed to start with. I will speed things up after, but I think it's important to start with that. Okay, there we go. Oh, why is my in-ear being annoying? Okay, there we go.
Thank you very much. Your Honor, may I call my next witness?
Please.
Call calls Jennifer McCabe.
Gonna watch court with me? The dog just showed up.
Face out quick and raise your right hand. You tell me for the evidence to give the court the in case there is no truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
All right, Mr.
Mr. Brennan, whenever you're ready, Ms. McCabe, I'd ask that you pull the microphone close, please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go right ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCabe.
It is a very, very different look than round one. And that is a very, very large cross. It's like weirdly big for that outfit. Oh, the dog might say hi to the internet. She's working on it.
Abe, MCCABE.
Ms. McCabe, how old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married with 4 daughters.
Without detailing your children's names, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Sure, I have 4 daughters that are 16, 17, 19, and 21. 2 are in high school and 2 are in college.
In raising your children, was your family active in local sports?
Yes, all 4 of my daughters played multiple sports from when they were young. 2 now are playing in college. My husband and I both coached them. My husband coached them from when they were young up through 8th grade in soccer. And
that'll set them up for a minute. I apologize, guys. We have company. Hi, Macy. Say hi to the internet, honey. Yeah, Mama's doing a show. You're gonna have to deal with it. Life with pets. Okay, well, Jen, no, we're gonna let you continue.
I
introduce
coached them
yourself.
in basketball.
Without telling me your address, what town are you from?
I'm from Canton.
How long have you lived in Canton with your family for?
I was born and raised in Canton, and now I'm raising my family there.
So your family, their whole life, you've raised them in Canton?
1 year we lived in Stoughton with my daughter.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my husband and my 4 daughters.
Can you briefly give me a little bit more background on your children's school and your participation in interaction with you?
Okay, we can skip ahead. We can skip ahead, I do believe. Nope, I'm going to let it go a little bit based on my notes.
Children raising them?
Yeah, so I was a teacher, and then once I had children, I stayed at home with them and basically was just kind of like your typical, I don't know, small town mom. I was the room parent. I coached them.
No, I'll allow it, but why don't we
Yes.
move on?
When I coached, I drove the kids back and forth on my team, would take them places, etc.
If you did not watch trial 1, if this is all fresh to you, I am curious in the comments in the chat, how does this read to you? Because I am already coming into this with thoughts. How does this read to you?
Growth of your family and raising your children, at some point did you meet a gentleman by the name of John O'Keefe?
Yes.
Share with us meeting John O'Keefe.
Sure. When my 3rd daughter was in kindergarten, she became friends with John's niece. And during that kindergarten school year, unfortunately, Kaylee's mother and father both passed away, and John moved in the house and became Mr. Mom.
I'm with Runkle on this one. Mr. Mom, really? Also, why did we use John's niece's name? Like, immediately? I have issues. I have issues with using the kids' names, especially John's niece and nephew. Don't like it. It's gross to me. The other part of that is Mr. Mom implies that men are incapable of being parents, and I don't like that. And it's not true. And no, that's personal. A lot of people will just miss it. It's fine. But to to me, this part of it has something. There is something. I can't put my finger on. I can't get the word that I'm looking for, but I don't love it.
When John took over guardianship of the children, did you assist in an active role in helping him?
Yes. Kaylee and my daughter were very close. So she would come over and play. My daughter would go over there. Kaylee would come and have sleepovers. A lot of times it would be on Friday nights. I would have Kaylee, and then another individual would have Patrick.
Had you known John O'Keefe well before he took over guardianship of the children?
No.
During the time when he was the guardian of the children, did your relationship, not just with his niece and nephew, but with him, grow any closer?
Yes, we became very good friends.
How close of friends did you become over the years?
Well, throughout the years, obviously, when they were younger, we talked more, just about the logistics of CCD, pickup, drop off, basketball, sports. But then he would also call me, about, as the girls got older, the girl drama or, the hormones and things like that. He would also come over, and hang out and have a beer and, just talk about whatever was new in his life or going on, or, just the day in and day out struggles of his, life and raising the kids now and figuring it all out with, work and family and all of that.
Leading into January 28th of 2022.
That's fair.
So the jury understands, how close is your friendship with John O'Keefe at that time?
He was a very good friend of mine that I knew I could call for anything.
When we get to the 911 call, I want you to keep that in your head, because when we get to the 911 call to me, we will get there. But yeah. Very good friend.
Take us forward to January 28th, 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember it well?
Yes.
Ugh, Brennan, do you remember it well? Of course she does. We're in court because everybody remembers this. What she is about to be tested on is her actual memory of it, sir. Okay. Let me skip ahead to my first timestamp here. So we're going to zoom. There's a lot of direct, her telling her version about the story, pointing out who's who at the waterfall. And if you watch trial number 1, yep, this is different, but the jury didn't. The jury is not allowed to look at trial number 1. So, they get to watch this. Oh yeah. Okay, let's go. This is where we are at of getting. So we've skipped ahead in the evening, and Jen is now describing giving John and Karen directions to 34 Fairview.
Yes.
Did you call him or did he call you?
He texted me and I believe asked something like where to. And since I was driving, I called him.
When you called him, what did you tell him? What did you guys say?
I just said they live 34 Fairview Road off of Chapman.
Do you know if John O'Keefe had ever been to the Albert home before?
I don't believe he had.
In that conversation, how long did that conversation take?
It was quick.
Was there any other conversation that you had with him other than that one conversation?
Yes, he called me back and he was trying to find it.
Trying to find the address?
Try to find the house on Fairview.
Did he ask you for help trying to find the address?
He, not sure his exact words, but yes, he needed help. And so I just said, I told him, just go down the street, go by Bella's house. It's at the bottom of the street.
So you used Bella's house as a point of designation to try to guide him to get to your sister's house?
Yes.
Tell us who Bella was to John.
Bella is my daughter and John's niece friend. So Bella is friends with my daughter, John's niece.
Okay. And was there any relationship between Bella's mother and John that you knew of?
We're gonna zoom past the sidebar, because it's just weird. It's a weird thing. Right. She makes that comment. I get using the kid as a landmark, right? If he doesn't know any house, but he probably knows his niece's friends' names, that does make sense to me. I will give her that. What does not make sense to me is all of the testimony around Bella's mom and this house being a landmark and them harping on it. It just doesn't track for me. Okay. Close enough. There we are.
Conversation you had with John. Do you know about what time that was?
I don't. It would be after 12:15, but before 12:30, approximately, between that.
Were you still driving when you had that conversation?
Yes.
And at some point you told us you arrived at your sister's home and went in?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to move forward now to when you were inside the house. Tell us generally when you first got there and saw everybody, what were you doing?
I just sat down at the table. I started talking to them. We were listening to music. Typical night.
Okay. Anything stand out as far as music or interaction with the group?
No, we were just laughing, telling stories. At one point, I'm not sure if it was at some point, my other nephew had been over my house and had shown me this video on his phone, and it was a family inside joke. The video, it was a music video from a long time ago. And so I was telling my other niece and nephew, oh my gosh, you have to see this video. It's hysterical. And then we started playing it and watching it.
What was the video?
It's Raining Men.
Did that get a lot of playtime during that get together?
Well, I have one sister who sometimes has a little too much to drink, takes out an umbrella and will dance. So it's a family joke.
While you were...
I don't like any of that. It's not comfortable to me. It does not read as natural. To me, that doesn't read as natural, and it reads as being kind of shady to her sister, which is maybe fair. I don't know, but I don't know.
You were at your sister's house. What area of the house were you spending time in?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen.
What was the mood of everybody in the house, as far as you remember?
Everybody was in a great mood.
Was there any fighting?
No.
Any arguing?
No.
Any violence?
No.
Was it a celebratory mood?
Yes.
As you were in the house, were you waiting for anybody else that you expected to come?
Yes, I was expecting John and Karen to come.
At some point when you're in the kitchen, well, let me ask you a little background. As you're in the kitchen of that house, can you see outside from the kitchen area?
They had blinds or something down, but if the blinds were up, you could see out.
Were the blinds up?
No.
At any point, were you able to see outside from inside the house?
From the front door, yes.
Does the front door, is it glass?
Yes.
At some point when you were with everybody in the celebration, did you have a chance to look outside?
Yes.
And when you looked outside, what did you see?
I saw a dark SUV out front.
Did you know whose SUV that was?
I believed it was Karen's.
Could you see who was in it?
No.
At that point of night, what does the weather look like from the front door?
It's dark and it's snowing, and I could see, brake lights.
Did you see if that SUV moved at all?
I didn't see the SUV actually move, but I saw it in a few different locations.
How many times did you look out?
can't give you an exact number of how many times I looked out. I can tell you I saw the vehicle first straight out from the front door. Then I saw it up at the flagpole, and then I saw it further up from the flagpole.
Were you studying the car at all?
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No.
What were you expecting was going to happen?
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come in?
Yes, so I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front, so I got up, went to the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table, and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
So here's my question. Here's one of the things that has gotten stuck in my head that I can't get out of my head. You have a bunch of people coming over the house for a party. 2 of them have not been to the house before. They pull up. You're pretty sure it's them because everybody was leaving and talking and texting and all of that. You're at the door. If it's me in my house, I'm opening the door and I'm waving at them and I'm going, come on in, right? Right? It's weird that it's just like, oh, are they here? And then back to whatever. Now I know it wasn't her house, but there are a lot of questions in this for me that never got answered.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John in it? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him.
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to you before 12:30?
I mean, texting makes sense too.
From John?
Yes.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Yes.
When the car was out front, did you
Brennan.
exchange text messages, or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
Do you remember what you were texting him?
The first time I said here.
What do you mean by here? Was that
Like hair question mark, because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No.
Did he ever text you again that night?
He never texted me again.
Never called again?
No.
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did, yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
I realized the first time I heard it, I didn't hear, did you ever leave the house and go out into the storm and go down to the flagpole to talk to them? Brennan. The correct question is, why didn't you wave them in? They were here. Why didn't you wave them in? Okay, then he goes, let's skip ahead to the next one. We're going to zoom a little bit here because, yeah, this. The reason that we are going through some of this is that when we get to cross, this is laying a lot of the foundation for the demeanor and stuff like that. This is the jury's first impression of Jennifer McCabe.
I want you to share with the jury the first thing that happens that changes everything.
At 4:53, my phone rings and I look at my caller ID. I look at the phone and it's Kaylee.
I get that that time is solidified in your mind, but it is very, very odd to me that we don't know and we don't know and we don't know and we don't know exact times and we don't know exact times and we don't know exact times. And then instead of it being just before 5 or whatever, it's 4:53. My phone rings. Ma'am, I my phone rings and I am worried at 4:53. You know what? I don't think I'm paying attention to the exact time, in all honesty. I get that it's in her head because of this event, but it's odd to me.
John's niece. John's niece. And I say hello, and she said, yeah, well, basically she relayed to me that
Next question.
When you pick up the phone, could you hear a voice on the other end?
I heard a voice and a lot of screaming.
And the voice you heard, is that Kaylee, John's niece?
Yes.
And the screaming.
Stop using their
was it
names.
a man or a woman screaming?
It was a woman.
How loud was that person screaming?
Very loud.
Could you make out anything that person was saying as they were screaming?
My name was screamed a lot. And then the other individual ended up getting on the phone with me.
And who was that person that was screaming in the background?
Miss Reed.
How long was she screaming?
So I'm stuck on this one too. You get a call in the wee hours of the morning from your friend's niece's phone. She sounds concerned and there is screaming in the background. And the first words out of your mouth are not, "What's wrong?" or "How can I help?" Like, the first words out of your mouth, the first thing in your brain is not, "What is wrong?" Really?
For while you were speaking to your niece before you spoke to her?
The entire time I was speaking to Kaylee, she was screaming.
Describe her demeanor.
Miss Reed's?
Yes.
Jen! And then she's screaming that John didn't come home. She left him at the waterfall. She was hysterical. It was very hard to follow what she was saying.
How long did that first call last for?
I'm not sure how long, maybe possibly a few minutes, but it was loud enough and long enough that my husband shot up in bed thinking one of my kids had come in the room screaming.
Without saying what your niece said, could you describe your niece's demeanor when you first spoke to her?
John's
niece's demeanor.
I would say Kaylee sounded concerned, uneasy.
Why is nobody worried?
During that phone call, other than the screaming and the screaming of your name, did the defendant give you any information other than she had dropped John off at the waterfall?
They had gotten into a fight. She had left him there and he didn't come home.
And when you were woken up, were you in a sleep when you were woken up?
Yes, I was sound asleep.
What was your mental state like when you first woke up and got that call?
Well, I had been up late. I had taken my medication that I take for my MS, so I was definitely a bit groggy when I first woke up. So immediately I just wanted to help her. She was hysterical. Kaylee was upset. So I went into that kind of mom mode of what can I do? How can I help?
That makes sense.
So I immediately was like thinking, okay, well, if you left him at the waterfall, let me think who was still there, or how can I help you? How can we find John?
Your friend is missing. You are aware that your friend did not arrive back at his own house. Your friend is missing. Yeah, if you go into mom mode, you start calling everyone that you saw, right?
Did you have a plan when you ended that first call?
I did. I knew Chris Albert had still been at the waterfall when I left. So I thought if Karen and John had gotten into a fight, maybe Chris had walked out of the bar and Chris lived local to the bar, thought maybe he they walked back to Chris's together.
So what did you do?
So I called Chris Albert's wife, Julie.
Did you speak to her?
No, she never answered.
After you had a moment to make a phone call and think about things, did your head become any more clearer?
It did. And I was, reminded by my husband that we had seen Karen in John's car outside of Fairview.
When he reminded you, did you independently remember the text messages that you?
They were in Karen's car. Karen and John in Karen's car. Sorry, it was said backwards. I know what she meant. It was just.
You sent to John earlier that evening?
Immediately, I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Did you remember that you had seen what you believed to be the defendant's car in front of the house and near the flagpole?
Objection. Watch the form.
Okay. What did you remember? What came to mind after you spoke to your husband about your memory from earlier that evening?
The minute he said it, I remember seeing the SUV and then all the text messages that I had and the phone conversation with John.
So after the defendant spoke to you and said she had left,
It doesn't sit with me. Doesn't sit with me. It doesn't sit with me. And part of that reason is story time. Story time. Okay, before we get back to Jen McCabe, back about, I don't know, a little less than 20 years ago now, I was at a friend's house. We were having a bonfire, and her husband made a very big oopsie, causing a big boom that caused everybody is fine in this situation, but caused a big boom. He goes flying back, and we have to rush into emergency mode because now we need ambulances. The police have to ask questions because boom, right? It was a bonfire, but the bonfire went boom. So we go through all of that. And I know in that particular situation, even this many years on, part of what happened, can I remember details? No, I can't remember details. It was 20 years ago. But there were two of us that went into like super calm. We have to do this, and this mode. There were two people, at least one, but definitely two, just panicking. And so the two of us that were like able to go into mom mode were like, okay, let us go. You do this, you do that. We divided and conquered. We took care of all of that. I think that's why this doesn't sit well with me. Your friend, you just got a call saying your friend didn't come home. His girlfriend is losing her mind. And yes, in all of the audio that we will end up hearing, Karen is losing her mind. I get being groggy. I get having to take a minute. It is very hard for me to wrap my head around Jen forgetting she saw them entirely if she was, as she claimed to be, stone cold sober. If everybody was drunk, this makes sense to me. If she did not do a lot of drinking, this does not make sense to me. Maybe that's me. I don't know. It's just weird. Okay. So I'm going to let this keep going for a little bit longer because it's the crux of things. And then we will continue.
The defendant at the waterfall, and you had time to think about your memories. Did you react or do anything with that?
Yes, I believe I called Kaylee back.
Why did you call Kaylee?
I didn't have Miss Reed's phone number.
When you called Kaylee back, did you
That's
speak
fair.
to anybody?
Yes, I believe Kaylee and
That's
then
fair.
Miss Reed.
When you first spoke to Kaylee, could you hear anything other than Kaylee?
The screaming.
Was it any different, or was it similar to the first time you spoke by phone?
Similar to the first time.
Regarding the demeanor or intensity, had it changed at all?
Not at all.
You mentioned the first time that you had that phone call, the defendant was screaming your name. Jen,
Yes.
Jen, Jen. Was she saying your name in the second call, or was it just general screaming?
My name. And then when she got on the phone, I had told her, Karen, I saw you guys outside of my sister's house. And then she told me she didn't remember being there. And then she went on to say, she started saying, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I don't. And then she just was just all over the place, like screaming my name, screaming so many different things. She was hard to
panicked.
follow or understand.
When she was saying to you, did I hit him? Could have I hit him? Was that before or after you informed her that you had seen her out front of your sister's house?
It was after I told her that. She also informed me that she had cracked her taillight.
In that conversation, she told you that?
In one of the conversations I had with her in my bedroom, yes.
When you told her that you had seen her out front, she had said that she didn't remember that night. Was that before or after she was saying, did I hit him? Could have I hit him?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
So she was telling you about that she didn't remember that night.
Mhm.
Was that before or after you had told her about seeing her car?
When I said I saw her at Fairview, then her response was she didn't even remember going there.
Did she ever deny that she came to Mr. O'Keefe's house? I mean, to your sister's house?
No.
When she told you or said to you, did I hit him or could have I hit him or something like that, did you have any idea what she was talking about?
No, I didn't pay attention to it.
When she told you,
No one. Every time somebody hears, could I hit him? Did I hit him? In all of the testimony, it's not in a single report, and nobody thinks to talk to anybody about it. Everybody just goes, whatever.
that she had cracked her taillight the night before, did that have any significance at that time to you?
No.
So in telling you these different things, did you ever piece them together at that time?
No.
What was your primary motivation at that point?
I just wanted to help her because she was hysterical. Kaylee was very upset, so I wanted to help her, and I wanted to find John.
So after she told you these things about whether she could or did hit her and the light and not remembering, did the conversation end or did it progress?
At some point, I was then going into like, okay, well, if she brought him there and left him there, where was he? Because he never came in the house and she doesn't know where he is. So now where could he be?
I did not catch that the first time.
So
Sorry.
I started.
I did not catch that the first time. I didn't. So where is he if he's there? That if this is for the previous testimony, literally not a single soul in this trial has testified to anything other than could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Oh, it's in the report. Right, the reports. You're right. That is a spoiler. Sorry. My brain had to catch up with me. I should have had coffee instead of ginger ale. Because yeah. Yep, sorry. That's not in evidence yet. That's what makes this so hard. There's so much not in evidence right now. So there's a lot that they could use to ask her questions about her testimony, but they can't because Brennan has done a good lawyer move and called her early. He's called her before we have seen a single law enforcement officer to testify to that morning.
Thinking there was another gentleman that was supposed to meet us out at the bar who John was friends with. So I thought, okay, well, in my head, I'm thinking maybe they got into a fight. John got out of the car and he connected with this guy because he was at a party on the street.
What was that
over.
person's name?
His name is Tom Beatty.
Did you call him?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to speak to him that night?
That morning?
Yes.
No.
Did you call around anywhere else?
That's a name that
I
didn't
believe I
come up in the
called
first
my
trial.
sister. I called John. I called Tom Beatty. I called his daughter.
You called John O'Keefe's phone?
Yes.
Did he answer?
No,
Did it go right to voicemail?
I don't remember.
Did you text anybody?
I honestly don't remember if I
Okay.
texted. I primarily think I was just trying to call as many people as I could and
Which
try to
makes
figure out what
sense.
happened.
So you had two conversations.
That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. That is a weird turn of phrase to me. You're looking for your friend. I guess at this point, she's been through so many rounds of being a witness. Jumping ahead to figure out what happened makes sense.
Conversations at this point with the defendant while you were still home.
Yes.
Was there any further phone calls that you had before you did something?
I'm not sure if I know I went downstairs to make coffee because my plan was to go with my husband. I said, come on, let's just go over to Tom Beatty's. Let's see. Maybe John's there. He passed it on the couch. I'm not sure if Karen called me again or not. It's a little foggy because there was so many calls and everything.
And so that morning when you're receiving calls, did something
No
happen?
idea. New info.
Karen
No idea.
showed up at my house.
How did you know Karen showed up at your house?
I could hear her screaming out front.
And about what time is this?
Approximately 5:20, 5:30. I can't be sure.
Yep.
Were you worried for John at this point?
Not particularly. No.
Were you screaming?
No.
See,
Now, at
that's
this point,
weird.
this
That is
moment-
weird. That is weird to me. I can't shake that. I can't shake that. Yeah, she mentions his full name 3 times, and not once did that I don't remember that name ever coming up in trial number 1. I don't remember that name. I didn't look real close at the witness list, so I don't know if he's gonna be called or not. It's weird. He's not even mentioned in the 9 million docuseries that we have to look at. Uh, from anybody. Like, it is a completely new name, which makes it weird to me. It makes it weird to me. It's also weird to me. I can't wrap my head around how Karen is the only one word for John. I don't think it's consciousness of guilt. It's not to me. What is bizarre is John's friends who aren't worried that he never came home the night before. Like, that's the part that sticks with me, honestly. All right, we are going to scoot ahead to we are going to scoot ahead to the next day. So this is I just want to yeah, we're going to scoot ahead to the next day. Right. I'm getting past the judge asking the jury if they saw anything or not. So so this is the next day here. Big that. I might have to edit. I make myself smaller. Actually, I might just have to put myself in. That did not work at all, but sure, fine. There we go. I might have to move myself over, though. Yeah, I'm going to move myself over for now because We are still on direct. This is day 2. You will note the big old cross is gone, which leaves me asking, did she see the internet? But we are going to skip ahead to the 911 call because Jen McCabe is the one who makes the 911 call. So we've gone through all of this. She's met up with Karen. Her testimony is that Karen, Carrie, and Jen have all driven to 34 Fairview. Nobody has gone to knock on the door at all, even though this is Jen McCabe's sister and brother-in-law's house. He is a police officer and a first responder. You have found your friend on the lawn, unresponsive. No one enters that house. Ah, yes. Let's try that. Let us try that. Thanks. Thank you, Dad. Let's try that. No, let me see. I'm going to try and make myself even a little bit smaller here. All right, there we go. Let's try that. Let's try that. Okay. Does that... Why did that not work? There it is. There it is. There we go. Okay. Doing things on the fly. There we go. All right. So, what we are going to be listening to is the 911 call.
Found John.
Yes.
You shared with us that you were trying chest compressions. Before the chest compressions, did you make a phone call?
I called 911.
I'd like to move to introduce a copy of that 911 call.
Okay. Do you have something physically to, thank you.
Ms. McLaughlin does.
It is also the worst recording of a 911 call I've ever heard. I don't know what recording device Canton uses, but it seems to be via potato or via turnip. Just FYI.
Thank you.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play Exhibit 45.
Yes.
No, this is for emergency.
Yes, I need someone to come to 34 Fairview Road, Vietnam. There's a man trapped out in the snow.
You can't hold on, because you can't get it, so you can't get it all, okay?
Yeah, no, I did that.
You have to tell us, let's stay on.
I can keep going. Like, you're going to get here in 50, okay?
I'm trying to stay on, because it's...
Okay. I will. Where's the budget? I don't think I can tell you.
911, what's your emergency?
I need someone to come immediately to 34 Fairview Road, Camden, Mass.
What's going on?
There's a guy unresponsive in the snow.
In the south, 34?
Yes, 34, the Alpha resident, yes. I just pulled up and found it.
Okay, 34 Fairview?
34 Fairview, Camden, Mass, yes.
911, that's on your order, where's your emergency? Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry, can you come to 34 Fairview Road in Houston?
34 Fairview?
Yes, there's a man unresponsive in the snow.
Okay, in the,
He's gonna get here, okay?
okay, what's going on? Is he face down?
We just flipped him over.
Okay. And who's that in the background? Is that someone related?
That's his girlfriend, he has still on the feet.
Okay, how old is he?
John is 46 years old.
46, how long has he been outside?
I don't know. I don't know. He got out of the car and
Is he breathing?
a couple of hours. Is he, Terry? Is he? I don't. I don't know.
She says to 911 he got out of the car a couple of hours ago. Also, when you have a cop that lives in town and you're calling the local cops, the quickest way to get everybody at your house is to tell dispatch that it's a police officer that is unresponsive in the snow. The fact that does not seem to get said up to this point, I know that.
Women, there are two women trying to, it could be heat and they're hysterical.
Okay, can you just try to ask it? I know it's tough, but we have the other side of the and I just gotta know.
Okay. Is he breathing, you guys? It doesn't seem to be breathing.
Okay, do they know how to do CPR? Do they want to test CPR?
Yes, he's got to do CPR. No, I guess he's gone.
Okay, they don't feel comfortable doing so?
No, I think he's passed away.
Okay. All right, we have the fire department and the police department on the way. If everyone's defining CPR, then I'll hang up with you, and if anything changes, you can give us a call back. Where are you guys upset?
I'm afraid I'll kind of I know, I'm on the phone with the Andrews. I know, honey, I know. Carrie, you gotta get off of me. Carrie, you gotta get off of him.
You know if there's any alcohol or drugs involved?
He been out,
They've been out drinking?
Yes, I'm talking hours about maybe, and I don't know how long he's been in the snow.
Okay, is there any bleeding or anything? Maybe in his head? Is his head out?
Yes, absolutely, I think he's bleeding in the face.
Okay, bleeding from the face? All right.
Yes.
And how big's the pool of blood, if there is any?
Something's coming out of the note, and one of the women is doing CPR.
Okay, one of them is doing CPR?
Yes, they're both working on him.
All right, if you want CPR, and just give us a call back if he becomes responsive, right, but we're on the way.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. McCabe, describe your mental state when you were speaking to 911.
I guess the best way to describe it was I was in shock. My heart was racing. I was trying to be as helpful as I could and get the information to the most important information out as quick as I could to the 911 operators. But also the scene there with Karen and Kerry was a bit chaotic between the two of them. So I was just trying my best to be as calm as I could, to get help there as fast as I could, and to answer their questions the best that I could.
Could have sped everything up by saying, Officer O'Keefe is unresponsive in the snow. He is a police officer, and yeah. And it's at Brian Albert's house. She did say Brian Albert's house. She did get that out there, kind of. I am one of those people that panics after everything happens. So I get weird calm when everything else is chaos. And I've had to call 911, which I hate because I hate talking on the phone and I hate doing all of that. I don't know. That 911 call is a little odd to me. It was odd to me the first time I heard it. It's weirder on a third or fourth listen, honestly. All right, let us jump ahead a little bit. Still on direct. This is about her going into the house finally. We're almost there. We're almost there. This is important. This is important, Dad. I know we're going to get to cross in just a minute. We're going to get to cross in just a minute,
Yes.
I promise.
Did they ask you to do anything or go anywhere?
Yes. Officer Lank asked me to go into my sister's house and to wake them up.
But this is
Your sister's
important.
name again?
My sister, Nicole.
And that is the house you were in the night before?
Yes.
And after you spoke to the officer, they requested you go in to speak to your sister, did you?
Why
Yes.
didn't anybody go in
Was
first?
there any directive on what you should speak to your sister about?
No.
After the officers asked you to go into the house, did you?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember what door you went through?
Yes, I went through the front door.
Was the door locked?
Yes.
How did you get in?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said, was it unlocked?
No, I asked if it was locked.
Oh, sorry. It was unlocked.
As you're approaching the house, were there any lights on?
No.
Was it dark?
Yes.
Any sign of any movement inside the house before you went in?
No.
Take us through walking through the front door. What happens?
So I went in the front door. I opened the door. I walked up the stairs into their hallway, and then I think I knocked on their door.
Bedroom door?
Their bedroom door. And then I opened the door. I went in and I walked over to the bed and I was like, Brian, Nicole, because I was in a position where I felt like the world was going on around me. So much was happening, but I also was aware that I was just about to wake up two people that are sound asleep, and they're going to see me standing over their bed and be startled, wondering, what am I doing here?
One of them is also a cop. Have you ever entered a cop's house before? Almost every former law enforcement officer or military person I have known, you knock on the front door, open it a little bit, holler out who you are and your stated business there, even if they know you're coming, because otherwise you will meet the wrong end of a weapon. That has been my training with all former, with most of the law enforcement officers and military that I have known in my time. You don't, and they don't leave their doors unlocked unless everyone is scared of them,
So what happened?
including
So it took a
other
minute or
cops.
two, and then Brian woke up and he immediately was like startled and was like, Jennifer, what's going on? What are you doing? And then I believe I tried the best I could to say what was going on. I think I said, we found John.
You don't need to describe.
Okay. And there's no dog, by the way. There's, in theory, a reactive dog in the house, but no dog. All right, let us zoom. I don't think we are going to finish going over her cross today. That's just not going to happen, or we will be here for a while. But I am going to zoom. We are going to get a little bit across. Maybe I will try and do a recap. Maybe let's just plan on settling in on Sunday, and I'll catch up on Sunday. Let us do that. But let me get us a little bit across. It is Alan Jackson. I have some thoughts on this. 1 minute, almost. Okay. Because my folks are my mods, and they got to get to bed. And
good morning, Ms. McCabe.
Good morning.
When was the last time you spoke with Carrie?
The dog has come up in previous testimony. The dog has come up in previous testimony. And we have already established that no one has encountered the dog. So, it's a spoiler kind of, but not really. I'm trying really hard. It's hard. It's really hard. I'm not.
Carrie Roberts before your testimony today.
I've also been calling
she called me
for proof of life on this dog, Chloe, since last year. I still want proof of life of Chloe. Alex Murdoch's dog took him down. I'm just saying. Trust the dogs,
Last
man.
night.
The dogs will tell on
What did
you
y'all
as often as
discuss?
your phone.
She asked if my daughters were going to be staying home from school today because her daughter would possibly join them.
Did you discuss anything having to do with your testimony?
Not my testimony, no.
Did you discuss anything in that conversation with her prior testimony?
No.
Are you aware that she testified?
Talking
last
about
week?
Carrie
Yes.
Roberts there.
Did you discuss anything after that, after she testified with her about her testimony?
No.
We know that through her testimony that you had a conversation with her the morning that she testified.
Yes.
Right? Did you discuss what you anticipated to be her testimony before, in that conversation, before she testified?
No.
Have you and Ms. Roberts ever discussed anything about either one of your testimonies, either in the last proceeding or in anticipation of this proceeding?
No.
So for the entirety of the last year, even though you both went through a proceeding last year where you both testified under oath and it was highly, highly publicized, neither one of you, your good friend Carrie Roberts and you, have ever discussed either of your testimonies between that time and this time.
No, we've discussed the case and we've discussed what happened that moment, the moments of the morning, but we have not discussed testimony.
Okay, so let's break that down for a second. I'm talking about, because the timing matters. I'm just asking at this point, if you'll bear with me, just the year from last year at a different proceeding to this year, you have discussed this case.
Yes.
With Ms. Roberts.
Many times.
If you're wondering why, they are not allowed to say former trial, although at this point, everybody said it multiple times, including the attorneys. It's out there. The jury's heard it. The jury knows. But they are not allowed to go over that. Jackson, I'm going to zoom ahead to a next little bit where Jackson, this goes into, there's a back and forth between Jackson and Jen McCabe on trying to sort out if her and Carrie Roberts have coordinated their testimony at all. I think Jackson gets some good points made. We might take a closer look at that, but we have another full day of her testimony, which is why I'm going to zoom. He does. All right, let's give him this because he tries. He tries real hard to let the jury know without it coming all the way into
But he asked me.
What about any discussion about your demeanor and how you performed in the last proceeding? Objection.
I mean, that it's fair for Brennan to object there, but Jackson is trying Jackson was not prepared for this version of Jen McCabe. None of us were. This is not at all who she was on the stand last year. So he's trying really hard to get her to admit that she has softened to make herself more likable to the jury, which is fair. I don't think it landed. Then he tries to go through the 8 that we need a chart. Alan, Jackson, we need you to make us a chart. Can you do a chalk so that we know the family tree? Because there's too many Bryans. Everybody has the last name Albert or McCabe. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So he tries to help the jury by making her go through the full family tree. I was going to have us do that, but it's getting on in time, so we're going to skip that. What we are going to go to, I'm even going to skip that Brian Albert was a Boston cop and a first responder, and it's weird that she didn't try to wake him up when she found her friend on his lawn. Nope, I'm going to show that because it's weird to me. Nope, we're going to do this. We might just get comfy. Get comfy. You can hit pause if you need to hit pause. I will try, Mom and Dad, to make this go faster, though.
You're aware that Brian Albert, your friend of, I'm not going to say how many years, but since kindergarten, was a Boston police officer.
Yes.
He had been a lifetime law enforcement officer for some 30 years before he retired recently, correct?
Yes.
He's a trained first responder, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Albert and Chris Albert have another brother named Kevin Albert, correct?
Yes.
Kevin Albert is a detective with a police department, correct?
Yes, I believe that's his title. I'm not
Which
100%.
Which police department is Kevin Albert associated with?
Canton.
And you've grown up in Canton your whole life, you indicated.
Yes.
Your entire family has grown up in Canton, correct?
Yes.
And you, Ms. McCabe, have 3 sisters. Nicole, we've talked about. You also have a sister named Shelley, is that right?
Michelle, yes.
Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
And Denise, who you mentioned in your direct examination.
Yes.
Nicole is also known by nickname, is that right?
Yes.
What is Nicole's nickname within the family?
Coco.
Does Shelley also have a nickname? Well, I guess Shelley is the
Yeah,
shortened
Shelley
name for
is.
Michelle, correct?
Yes.
What about Denise?
She's Dee Dee.
Dee Dee?
Yeah, like Deedeee.
I wonder what he's got for that.
Your father lives close by in a neighboring town, correct?
Yes.
Don't tell me the town, but it's relatively close to Canton.
20 minutes, yes.
Okay. His name is Tom Weeks.
Yes.
I'm not going to go through all of them right now
Because there's too many and the family tree is getting insane. You've made your point, Jackson. Everybody knows somebody at the police department, which is what makes this next little bit much more interesting. This is on Cross. Wait. Close enough. We're close enough.
All right, Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Thank you.
They are back from break.
When last we left off, we were talking a little bit about some of the familial connections that your family has with certain law enforcement agencies. We talked about Boston Police Department, obviously, Brian Albert. We talked a little bit about Massachusetts State Police and knowing friends of friends with regard to Chris and Julie, correct?
Yeah.
Knowing friends of Chris and Julie.
Friends of friends of Chris and Julie.
Is
Come
that your
on,
relationship?
Jackson.
With
Sure.
who?
I'd asked you about. I'll ask you a different question.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit vague.
That was a terrible
Courtney
question.
Proctor is friends with Julie's sister,
Yes.
and obviously knows Courtney also knows Julie and Chris, correct?
Sustained.
And there's also a connection to Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you answer that? Is there a connection? Do you have a connection with the Canton Police Department through Kevin Albert?
Not with the police department, but Kevin Albert is Brian Albert's brother.
Right. And Kevin works for whom?
The Canton Police.
Thank you. So you've been interviewed many times by
There's a
different
connection.
law enforcement agencies, be they Massachusetts State Police, Canton Police, or otherwise, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Those interviews have not just been over the period of weeks, it's been over the period of weeks and months and even years since this occurred, correct?
Yes.
You were contacted by another law enforcement agency that was not Massachusetts State Police and not Canton Police Department at one point in April of 2023. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I want to talk for a second about that series of interview or that interview. You were contacted at your residence by these members of this law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
All right. Later that same day, you did sit down with those same law enforcement officers for a formal interview.
On
that same day that you were contacted by them, they also went into your home and actually interviewed you, correct?
Yes, it was brief.
All right. Those law enforcement officers identified themselves as being associated with an agency that is not Massachusetts State Police. You understood that.
Yes.
And you understood that they were not involved with Canton Police Department either, correct?
Correct.
Completely separate agency. Is that right?
Yes.
During the course of that interview,
Gee, I wonder who they could be.
Interview, those officers informed you very specifically, Ms. McCabe, that it is a crime to lie to them, even during an interview, correct?
Yes.
Those law enforcement officers informed you that they were investigating certain circumstances attendant to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
They were very vague on what they were.
Understood.
I don't know what they were investigating.
But you did understand that it was having something to do with your involvement at 34 Fairview on January 28th, 29th, 2022. As a witness or otherwise?
Objection.
Sustained as to certain terminologies.
That's on the,
Let me
that's
see if I can rephrase that,
there.
Ms. McCabe. You were aware of the subject matter of their interview, right? They weren't interviewing about a car you bought last year, correct?
Correct.
They were interviewing you about, basically, about what you're testifying to here, correct?
When I first spoke with them, the conversation was pretty vague.
But the subject matter, vague or specific, was about this subject matter.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. They first contacted you telephonically, called you on the phone. Is that right?
Actually, they walked up to my car.
They walked up to your car.
Yes.
Okay, that was the very first introduction, correct?
Yes.
At that point, they had not identified themselves, correct?
They didn't know.
All right, and at that point, you told them that you were not Jennifer McCabe. They asked you who you were, and you said, I'm Nicole.
I thought they were like selling something. So I was like, oh, no, I'm not the homeowner.
To be fair, if two strange people walked up to me, I'd probably do the same thing. However, I sincerely doubt two parts of this. Number one, that they did not identify themselves. Number two, that she couldn't recognize an FBI from a mile away. Not with that much law enforcement around her. I might not have until I did campus security way back in, like, way back in the day. They're pretty obvious.
Fair enough, fair enough. However, after you said, I'm not Jennifer McCabe, you walked into the house, they then called you on the phone.
Yes,
They were
correct.
still sitting outside your house.
I don't know where they were, but they did call me.
They were close by.
I'm not aware.
Well, the call came almost immediately after you walked back in the house, correct?
I'm not sure how much.
Jackson, she doesn't know. We all know. We can infer that they watched her walk in and then called her. But she can't testify to that, and you know that. Sir. Remind me at the end of this, I have thoughts on his line of questioning that differ from all of the attorneys on the internet.
How much time had passed?
Give me an idea. It wasn't an hour. It was
No, it was
5 to 10
soon
minutes.
after. I'm just not sure. I can't tell you where they were located. I'm sorry.
Okay. They told you that they would, at that point, they identified themselves as being law enforcement agents, correct?
When they called me, yes.
And they told you at that time that they were not with Canton Police. You knew at least they were not with Canton Police Department. They were not troopers with Massachusetts State Police, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And they told you that they would like to have an interview with you. They'd like to have a sit-down talk with you, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you would be willing to submit to an interview, but you needed about 10 minutes to get ready, correct?
Yes.
You ultimately did allow them into your home, and you did sit down for a formal interview with them, correct?
Yes, brief, but yes.
And it was during that formal interview inside the home that it was explained to you that it would be a crime for you to lie to them on any material issue, correct?
Yes.
During the course of your interview, your husband, Matt McCabe, came home. Is that right?
Yes.
As these law enforcement agents continue to question you, as law enforcement officers continue to question you at some point, you inform them that you did not feel comfortable with any further questioning and you suspended the interview, correct?
Yes.
General reminder, that anytime law enforcement shows up at your door and wants to talk with you, you say, I will come down to the station with my attorney. Just your general reminder.
Before
That's
leaving,
not
however,
weird.
those same law enforcement officers asked you if you had contacted anyone in those 10 minutes when you indicated, I need 10 minutes to get ready, between the time they called you and the time that they showed up and came inside your house, correct?
Yes.
You told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes.
which is why he came home, right?
Yes.
And you told them that you had called Carrie Roberts before they interviewed you, correct? At that moment.
I'm not 100% sure, but if you have it, it seems like something I would do, but if you have it, could show me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm going to skip ahead while he's doing that. She asked to see what he has a lot. She learned her lesson last time.
First, I'm going to ask you, Ms. McCabe, if you recognize that as being a report of that interview, just generally. Yes or no?
It appears to be, yes.
May I approach the witness stand and stand by the witness stand for a couple of questions?
Yes.
I can have that.
Sure.
I want to direct your attention, if I may, for court and counsel, page 3 of 4, starting with the second to the last full paragraph, going into page 5, top full. I'm sorry, page 4.
Let's skip ahead to the actual
and then look up and let me know
questions here.
when you're finished.
Skip ahead. She spends a long time reviewing it. Which is fair. Always take more time.
Thank you, Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
Did reviewing those paragraphs refresh your recollection as to whether or not, as to what you told those agents initially? I'm sorry, what you told those officers initially from that other law enforcement agency, that about who you contacted in that 10-minute interval?
Yes, I told them.
And you told them that you had contacted your husband, Matt McCabe,
Yes,
and Carrie Roberts.
correct.
Both
I want
of
to stick
whom
with
make
that for
sense.
just a quick second. One of the first calls you made after being contacted by these other law enforcement officers from a different agency, one of the first calls you made was to Carrie Roberts. Is that right?
She was the first one.
That's what I'm asking. One of the first 2 calls you made, your husband,
Right.
come home, there's law enforcement outside my door, I'm guessing is what you said, correct?
I don't remember my exact words now, but I did ask him to come home, correct?
And
Yes.
Carrie Roberts.
Okay, yes.
You wanted to let Ms. Roberts know that you had been contacted by certain officers from a different agency, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, you want to call your friend, especially if it's your friend that has experienced the same thing. I'm speeding them up ever so slightly. Usually I don't love doing that for some testimony, but my brain cannot at this point. Carrie Roberts makes sense. Matt McCabe,
I was
her
curious
husband makes sense.
I was curious as if they had already been to her.
That
Because-
was my next
Oh,
question.
yeah.
You also wanted to find out, have these law enforcement officers from this different agency contacted her, correct?
Right,
Yes,
which
because
makes
typically
sense.
if you
Just
enter our
yes or no.
town, she's,
Ms. McCabe, yes or no?
oh, sorry, I was just trying to
That's okay.
explain. I'm sorry.
Is that why you contacted her, to find out if in fact they had contacted her before you? Yes or no?
Yes,
And you also wanted to find out what she told them, if she had been contacted by them, correct? That was your motive in calling her.
no.
So you just wanted to find out, had she been contacted? But if
Yes.
she had said yes, you weren't going to say, and what the hell did they say? What did they ask you?
Well, I can't say what I would have asked her, but I know I was calling to see if they had been there. Yes,
That was your
correct.
intent.
I called to ask her if they had been there. Yes.
So that was your intent. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The
2 of them they've gone rounds.
Your motive in calling Carrie Roberts at that moment before your interview was to ensure that your story would line up with her story, Ms. McCabe. Isn't that right?
No, that is not.
You wanted to find out if she had talked to these particular law enforcement officers and what she had told them so that your story could somehow align or it could inform how you responded to questions that they asked you. Isn't that true?
That's not true. We both know what happened. We don't have to have a story. There is no story. There's what happened, and that's
So,
it.
So if that's true, Ms. McCabe,
Mhm.
you have no reason to call Carrie and ask her if she'd been contacted by these law enforcement agents because it's just the truth, correct?
We're going through this whole experience together. We call each other about everything.
There would
That's
be no
nothing
reason,
more
right?
than that.
So
I'm
let her
sorry.
let her finish her answer. Go ahead, Ms. McCabe. You can finish.
Spoilers. What she is trying to get in here, I think, is there's been a lot of allegations of witness intimidation. In the last trial, due to a terrible question on Alan Jackson's part, Jen McCabe was able to bust that door wide open and go into details. I think she's trying to do that here and can't.
There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up, when Miss Reed's
See,
private investigator
when the
showed
media
up. We
showed
just
up,
give each other the heads up. Hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
And that's helpful in making sure that the stories she tells
I don't love it.
with the stories you tell to different law enforcement agencies, correct?
No, we are not telling stories.
So let her finish.
Because keep in mind, Carrie Roberts also testified. That's what we have to also remember. Carrie Roberts also testified to some of these exact same things. And it was different. It felt different. It resonated different.
No, she said no. What?
I said, no, we're not telling stories. We don't have to compare.
And if in fact what we were telling you was just the truth, there would be no reason for you to inquire about who's contacted her when. There'd be no reason.
There's no inquiring. It's like when when the ice cream truck was at the street next door and I'm saying, did the ice cream truck come? It's really that simple.
So you asked a question,
Not nice to talk.
an argumentative question, and she responded in kind. Next
Judge, come on. The jury heard that.
You also testified in your direct examination, staying with Ms. Roberts for just a second, about a timeline that you and Ms. Roberts put together, correct?
Yes.
That's another example of the two of you talking about your own perceptions and comparing and contrasting those perceptions and putting it down on paper, correct?
No,
Yes or no?
it's a no. Can I explain or no?
No.
I'm sure Mr. Brennan will have follow-up questions. After you gave that answer to those law enforcement officers at that separate law enforcement agency, they asked you, was there anyone else that you contacted?
But she's not allowed to do it. She's right, but she's not allowed to say it in front of the jury. She did, but it is based on the attorneys that I have that I've watched, none of them like that particular comment because it can affect the jury and what they think. Judge is not supposed to do that. It's why it's annoying to me when she does it in that way. She was absolutely right to tell him to move on and have her finish. The extra commentary was not needed.
Contacted in that 10-minute period before we got a chance to talk to you? And your answer was no, correct?
Correct.
And that was a lie, correct?
It wasn't a lie. No.
Was it true? Was it the truth or a lie?
It wasn't a lie.
Okay, so it was the truth. You had not spoken to any other person between the time they contacted you telephonically and you said, I need 10 minutes, and then they came in the door. During that part of time, you didn't talk to anybody else or contact anybody else other than Matt McCabe and Carrie Roberts. Now you're testifying that was a true statement.
I can't answer that yes or no.
It's pretty binary. Had you talked, well, let me ask you this. In point of fact, you did talk to other people. You contacted others in addition to Matt McCabe and Carrie Roberts, right? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So when you said no to the answer, did you contact anyone other than Matt and Carrie? that would be, by definition, Ms. McCabe, a lie, correct?
No.
It's not a lie? Is there some shade of lie that I'm not aware of?
She's
It's
never
the way
going to.
you're asking the question. If I
let
could
me ask it a
explain,
different
if I could explain,
Let me ask it
it
a
will
different
make
way.
more sense to you.
The agents asked you, let me go over this one more time, then I'm going to move on. The agents asked you, in fact, did you contact anyone between the time we called you and set up the interview and the 10 minutes before we walked in the door? They asked you that question, correct?
The objection sustained. Watch the choice of language.
I'm sorry. I meant the law enforcement agency. That law enforcement agency, the members of that law enforcement agency contacted you. Sorry, they asked you who you had contacted between the time they first telephoned you and walked in the door 10 minutes later, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Data point number one. Data point number two, you told them Matt and Carrie, correct?
Correct.
You had actually contacted, they then asked you, did you contact anyone else other than Matt and Carrie, correct?
Correct.
And you said no. Is that correct?
At that moment, I said no. Yes.
Correct. At any moment.
No, at that moment, because they had just come in my house.
I asked you,
Only one person can talk at a time.
you said the word no.
She
correct?
was finishing her answer.
I had said no because I was in a situation where there are two officers from a different agent had come in, were asking me questions, or they had said, can I come in and ask you questions? At first, I thought they were selling something. Then they identified themselves. I just dropped my kids off at school. Going to be completely honest. I hadn't brushed my teeth. So I kind of made some phone
Objection, Your Honor.
calls.
This is
That-
not
that's-
responsive.
So next question.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe,
Mhm.
after you said no, that you hadn't contacted anybody else,
Mhm.
those two law enforcement officers from that separate agency who had told you it was a crime to lie to them, they left, correct?
Yes.
Subsequent to that, Mr. McCabe, your husband, objection,
Sustained.
they left you their card so you could call them if need be, correct?
Yes, they did.
And you, in fact, did call them back, correct?
Yes, I did.
Without telling me the content of the conversation you had, did you have a conversation with Mr. McCabe? Objection.
Sustained.
Did you call them back and say, I'm calling you back because my husband told me that I lied to you and I better clear that lie up?
So sustained. Jurors, remember I told you before that only answers to questions are evidence? Be mindful of that.
May we-
Next, yes.
Sidebar. Sidebar. We're almost there. If Jackson would get to the point.
And all of a sudden you had an epiphany right after they walked out the door?
Yes. Matt said, who have you spoken to?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it. It's out and you're not to go any further. Mr. Judge.
Ms. McCabe, I want to draw your attention to January 28th.
I missed
You had
it.
gone out drinking with your family.
I'm going.
Who I had called.
To you to lie. Keith was found dead or dying. In-law and
We're almost
the
there.
district
All right.
attorney's
I'm
office,
backed
Peggy
up
O'Keefe, your
because
husband, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Carrie Roberts, correct?
Yes.
You contacted Peggy O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Then, Ms. McCabe, you contacted the district attorney's office, correct?
My witness advocate.
The district attorney's office.
My witness advocate who works
Miss-
for the district attorney's
Thank you,
office.
Ms. McCabe.
Yes.
And you also left out that you contacted Brian Albert himself, correct?
Yes, my brother-in-law.
For some reason, your brother-in-law, who's the 30-year Boston police detective, correct?
Yes.
And on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found dead or dying. Objection.
I'll allow that.
Correct?
Yes.
For some reason, you did not want these officers to know that you had communicated specifically with Brian Albert, the homeowner, just before you talked to them, correct?
No, incorrect.
There was some reason that was important enough for you to lie about that, even though you had been admonished that it's a crime to lie about that to those officers, correct?
Incorrect. I didn't lie to them. I had forgotten who I had called.
okay. That is where we are going to leave it for tonight. But here's my question to you. I forget a lot. I forget a lot of things. I forget a lot of things at random times. There's two reasons why I don't buy this. There's two reasons why I call absolute BS on I forgot. One, that is a weirdly specific group of people that you don't want the FBI knowing about. And two, it's 2020. At the time this would have happened, 2022. You know what I have in this little device here? Call log. Call log. I don't remember. Let me check. So call log. I mean, I don't, how do you, 5 calls, 10 minutes, even if you're just leaving messages. Have you contacted anybody else? Nope, just those 2. Whoopsie doodle, I forgot. I'm not, I'm not buying it. I call logs. I mean, actually, Dad, you are one of the only people I could think of that would not necessarily be able to pull this up. But you know what? Even landlines have call logs these days. She lied to the FBI. And this is after they got Carrie Roberts to admit that she lied unintentionally. The defense is doing a good job. And I think what this is going to come down to, for me, when I look at some of these things, there are key bits of evidence that I can't ever get past. Once I get stuck on them, the prosecution and or the defense has a huge hill to climb for me to get unstuck on them. And in this trial, with the evidence that has come in so far, the 2 big points of reference for Karen Reed confessing the crime, both have admitted to lying to law enforcement on the stand, grand jury, what have you. And we haven't even gotten to the crazy parts of this yet. So, with that, let me do a quick swoop, and then I will, let my amazing mods, i.e. my parents, go to bed and fall on their noses, because they have been amazing to hang with me for the evening. These are getting longer, because yeah. Dad says definitely not, but I wouldn't forget 3 of 5 calls 15 minutes after I made them when talking to those whomever, to the FBI or the law enforcement, right? There's a timing issue with that. You don't remember 2 and forget 3 in 10 minutes. 'Cause if you do, you've got a different issue with your medication or something else. Like, you need to see a doctor if that is true. Anyway, we have some more spicy bits of cross to get to, but I will probably lump that in with tomorrow. Court is back in session tomorrow. Cross will continue of Jennifer McCabe. She is not done yet. She is not done yet. Now, I'm going to say this. For my friends and everybody watching court live, as I do, I disagree with the lawyers on something. Lawyers will all reach a point. The jury might reach the same point, where everybody's annoyed with Jackson's line of questioning. You can't get this out of her, move on. You can't get this out of her, move on. You can't get this out of her, move on. Here's what I am going to say this in favor of Alan Jackson. Not because it's fun to sit through. It's annoying and I want him to move on too. But it's a little pick. And he does it. It's done it just with Jen McCabe so far. I know he'll do it again later. But he's done it just with Jen McCabe so far. And it hits a point with her every time where the softer persona drops, and all of a sudden we saw one of these moments here with the FBI stuff, right? And then you see one of those moments and everything drops and we go back to that. So it is requiring more patience of him, but I don't necessarily think it's actually a bad tactic with this witness. I don't know. I think he feels like he failed the last time. We will catch up on the end of this day, Sunday. I'm going to go with Sunday. Sunday, I'm going to try and be here a little bit earlier. And we will just take our time and get ready for court day on Monday. So that's what we are going to do. We'll come back to this, do that then. You know the chats I'm hanging out in. Yes, he gets him past the witness prep. And that reminds me. In trial number 1, Jen McCabe clearly, in whatever power structure is happening here, Jen McCabe clearly had authority over Adam Lally. That is not the case with Brennan. So yeah, he's got the patience to get them past that witness prep. I think everybody needed today. I do. I think everybody needed today. We will come back at it tomorrow. I do hope Alan Jackson cleans his questioning up a little bit. Because I think he can get to the point he wants to get her to faster if he goes about it a slightly different way. I'm not sure how, though. Probably Alessi can help. I don't know. If you guys happen to see this, just saying, I see what you're doing. I feel like if it happens faster, it will make more of an impact. But I don't know. I'm just sitting over here, quarterbacking a bunch of jobs that I do not have. With that, I'm going to say thank you for hanging with me for all of this. Do all of the things that make the algorithm happy, like, subscribe, share, what have you, and then join me on Sunday for the next live. We will cover the rest of this week in court. I want to thank everybody for your patience. I have not been doing the nightly recaps because health things and all of that. So thanks for hanging with me, and I will see you guys on Sunday. Find the things I'm looking for. There we go. All right. With that, as usual, everybody, I want to say be well, do good, and remember to bark. Well, asking you to bark a lot is where I normally stand. Bark louder than Chloe did, okay? Can we do that? Can we bark louder than Chloe did? Bark a lot. Bark a lot. I will see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of The Unfiltered Tea. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you have a story you want our unfiltered take on, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we will see you next time.